A music festival turns deadly as bullets rip through, killing 60 in 10 minutes. That is the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. But did you know there are others just as devastating? Watch on as we uncover the worst mass shootings in U.S. history, exposing raw chaos and heartbreak. We honor every victim respectfully. Stick around as number 1 will leave you speechless. Las Vegas shooting. A packed crowd of 22,000 sways to country music at the Route 91 Harvest Festival. Las Vegas, Nevada. On October 1st, 2017, 10:05 p.m., and Jason Aldean's guitar riffs fill the air. Suddenly, rapid gunfire cracks through the night, sparking panic. People drop to the ground, unsure where the shots come from. Stephen Paddock, 64, a retired accountant, rained over 1,100 rounds from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel, killing 60 and wounding 867 in 10 minutes. It's the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. Paddock checked into Suite 32 to 135 3 days earlier, hauling 23 rifles, thousands of rounds, and bump stocks that let his semi-automatic rifles fire like machine guns. He set up cameras in the hallway and on a service cart to spot police. At 10:00 p.m., security guard Jesus Campos investigated an open door alert. Paddock shot through the door, hitting Campos in the leg. Campos radioed for help, alerting police. By 10:15 p.m., Paddock stopped firing. Concert-goers scrambled over bodies, some shielding loved ones. Off-duty nurse Heather Melton used her body to protect her husband, Sonny, who died in her arms. Police reached the 32nd floor by 10:30 p.m., evacuating guests room by room. At 11:20 p.m., SWAT breached Paddock's suite with explosives, finding him dead from a self-inflicted gunshot. His arsenal included AR-15s, AK-47s, and 14,000 rounds of ammo, all legally bought. Paddock, a high-stakes gambler with a $2 million net worth, had no criminal record or clear motive. He lost $1.5 million gambling in 2016, but investigators found no manifesto, only notes calculating bullet trajectories. The aftermath rocked Las Vegas. Sunrise Hospital treated 249 victims, with 59 needing surgery. Blood banks overflowed with 5,000 donations in days. The festival site, across from Mandalay Bay, became a memorial with 58 crosses. Lawsuits hit MGM resorts claiming negligence in security and gun makers like Colt for bump stock-enabled weapons. In 2018, the ATF banned bump stocks, classifying them as machine guns. By 2020, MGM settled with victims for $800 million, though the Nevada Supreme Court ruled gun makers weren't liable without product defects. Paddock's planning stunned authorities. He scouted other festivals like Lollapalooza and booked rooms at the Ogden complex for practice runs. His girlfriend, Marilu Danley, was in the Philippines during the attack, unaware of his plans. Survivors faced lasting trauma. Some, like survivor Giovanna Calzadias, shot in the head, needed years of recovery. The lack of a motive like hate, ideology, or revenge left families like that of victim Quinton Robbins, a 20-year-old coach, grasping for answers. This tragedy changed gun laws, but did it change enough? Drop change in the comments if you think more needs to be done. Next, a music festival becomes a war zone. Stay tuned for a story that'll grip your heart. Pulse Nightclub shooting. On June 12, 2016 at 2:02 a.m., a crowded Orlando nightclub pulses with Latin music. Over 300 people dancing and laughing. Suddenly, gunfire erupts near the entrance. Screams drown out the beat as Omar Mateen, 29, storms Pulse.
Today, as they try to prove their case, that video was made public.
A vibrant LGBTQ+ hotspot wielding a Sig Sauer MCX rifle and a Glock 17 pistol. Patrons dove to the floor, some mistaking the shots for fireworks. Within seconds, chaos engulfed the club. Mateen fired at random, bodies fell and blood slicked the dance floor. A bouncer, a Marine veteran, unlatched a door, letting 70 escape, but dozens remained trapped. Mateen, a US-born security guard from Fort Pierce, Florida, moved methodically, shooting into crowds in restrooms. Survivor Orlando Torres hid in a bathroom, hearing pop, pop, pop as Mateen targets a handicap stall. "Please don't text," Mateen said coldly, returning to check for survivors. He fired at least 110 rounds, killing 49 and wounding 53. Most victims were Latino, celebrating Pride Month. Brenda Marquez McCool, a mother of 11, died shielding her son, who survived. Luis Vielma, a Harry Potter ride worker at Universal, and dancer Frankie De Jesus, a Puerto Rican folk expert, were among the fallen. By 2:09 a.m., Pulse's Facebook page posted, "Everyone get out and keep running." An off-duty officer, Adam Gruler, exchanged fire with Mateen but retreated against the assault rifle's power. SWAT teams arrived, and by 2:35 a.m., Mateen had holed up in a bathroom with hostages. He called 911, pledging allegiance to ISIS, citing US bombings in Iraq and Syria as his trigger. He texted his wife, Noor Salman, and checked Facebook for Pulse Orlando and shooting. Police negotiated for 3 hours, hearing desperate calls from trapped victims. At 4:21 a.m., officers dislodged an air conditioning unit, freeing some through a dressing room window. Mateen claimed he had bombs and snipers outside, stalling police. At 5:02 a.m., SWAT breached the wall with an armored vehicle and explosives. In a final gunfight, Mateen was shot 8 times and died at 5:14 a.m. The scene was horrific. 49 dead, 53 injured, some with limbs blown off. Orlando Regional Medical Center, flooded with victims, went on lockdown. Mateen's past raised red flags. The FBI investigated him in 2013 and 2014 for claiming ties to Al-Qaeda and Hezbollah, but found no charges. He legally bought his weapons days before, despite being on a terrorist watch list earlier. His father, an FBI informant, said Mateen was angered by 2 men kissing. But regulars claim he visited Pulse and used gay dating apps. Noor Salman, suspected of knowing his plans, was acquitted in 2018 for lack of evidence. The aftermath shakes Orlando. Equality Florida raised $7.85 million for victims' families. The city offered free burials at Greenwood Cemetery. Pulse, closed since, is set for demolition in 2025 for a $12 million memorial. This attack, the deadliest on the LGBTQ+ community in U.S. history, sparked gun control debates. Why did Mateen act? Was it hate, ideology, or both? The answers remain unclear and the pain lingers. But what happens when a quiet school morning turns deadly?
Such remarkable strength. Her son Christopher would have been 41 today.
Keep watching to find out. Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. First graders sat in a circle listening to morning announcements at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut.
The shooting was kind of like our most core memory.
On December 14, 2012 at 9:35 a.m., glass shattered at the locked entrance. Adam Lanza, 20, dressed in black, blasted through with a Bushmaster XM15E2S rifle, firing 11 rounds. In 5 minutes, he killed 26 to 20 children, 6 adults, and himself, shaking the nation. Lanza began his rampage at home, shooting his mother Nancy 4 times in the head as she slept. He grabbed her guns, 13 legally owned firearms, and drove to the school. Principal Dawn Hochsprung, 47, heard the shots and ran into the hall with psychologist Mary Sherlock, 56. Both fell to Lanza's bullets instantly. Hochsprung's final act was heroic. She shouted, "Shoot her, stay put," over the intercom, saving countless lives. Teacher Caitlin Roig Deadliest, 29, hid 15 students in a bathroom, barricading it with bookshelves. "Stay quiet," she whispered as kids trembled. Lanza targeted classrooms 8 and 10, closest to the entrance. In room 8, substitute teacher Lauren Rousseau, 30, and aide Rachel Davino, 29, couldn't stop the hail of 154 rounds. 14 first graders died, some shot up to 11 times. A girl, known only as Child 1, survived by smearing herself with a classmate's blood and playing dead. In room 10, teacher Victoria Soto, 27, hid her students in a closet. When Lanza entered, she lied, saying they were in the gym. 6 kids panicked and ran. Lanza shot them, and Soto, who shielded 3 others. Student Jesse Lewis, 6, yelled, "Run!" saving 9 classmates before dying. Police arrived at 9:39 a.m., but Lanza had already killed himself with a Glock 20 SF pistol. The scene was chaos, 26 bodies, blood-soaked hallways, and parents waited hours at a nearby firehouse for news. Some kids were identified by their clothes as dental records failed. Danbury Hospital received 6 wounded. Only 2 survived. Autopsies later showed multiple gunshot wounds per victim. Some hit 3 to 11 times. Lanza's life raised red flags. Diagnosed with sensory issues, anorexia, and OCD, he wore gloves to touch doorknobs and emailed his mother despite living together. His room, sealed with trash bags, held NRA certificates and a smashed hard drive with a spreadsheet of 500 mass killings. He dropped out of high school, obsessed with the 1999 Columbine shooting. His mother took him to firing ranges, teaching him to use the AR-15 he later used. The tragedy sparked action. In 2022, families won a $73 million settlement from Remington Arms for marketing rifles to young men with slogans like, "Consider Your Man" card reissued. Connecticut passed a 2013 gun control law, banning high-capacity magazines and expanding background checks. The school, demolished in 2014, reopened in 2016 with bulletproof glass and blast-resistant doors. A sycamore tree honored each victim. A university campus turned into a battlefield next. Keep watching for a story that'll stun you. If you're gripped by this video, hit that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts. What has shocked you most? Let's talk about it below. Also, keep watching as the remaining 2 will leave you speechless. Virginia Tech shooting. A quiet Monday morning on April 16, 2007, turned deadly at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia.
You had 100 billion chances and ways to have avoided today, but you decided to spill my blood.
At 7:15 a.m., Seung-Hui Cho, a 23-year-old senior, entered West Ambler Johnston Hall, a freshman dorm. Armed with a Walther P22 and a Glock 19, he fired 2 shots, killing Emily Hilscher, 19, in her room. Resident advisor Ryan Clark, 22, rushed toward the noise and died in the hallway. The campus stirred, unaware of the horror unfolding. Cho, a South Korean immigrant who moved to the U.S. at age 8, returned to his dorm, Harper Hall, by 7:30 a.m. He deleted emails, removed his computer's hard drive, and mailed a 1,800-word manifesto to NBC News from a Blacksburg post office at 9:01 a.m. The package included videos of him posing with guns, ranting, "You forced me into a corner." By 9:40 a.m., he reached Norris Hall, a classroom building, carrying 400 rounds and 19 high-capacity magazines. He chained 3 entrances shut with padlocks and posted a bomb threat note to deter entry. Inside Norris Hall, Cho struck room 206 first, killing hydrology professor G.V. Loganathan, 53, and 9 students execution style. 4 survived by playing dead under desks. In room 207, German instructor Jamie Bishop, 35, took multiple bullets shielding his class. Room 211 saw Air Force ROTC cadet Matthew Laporte, 20, charge Cho to disarm him but fall after 7 shots. Professor Jocelyn Kucher-Novak, 49, died protecting her French students. In room 204, 76-year-old Holocaust survivor Liviu Librescu barricaded the door with his body, shouting, "Go! I'll hold them!" 22 students escaped through the windows before Cho shot Librescu through the door. In 11 minutes, Cho fired 174 rounds, killing 30 and wounding 17. At 9:51 a.m., he shot himself as police broke in. The death toll reached 32, including Cho, with 6 others injured jumping from windows. Police initially thought Hilscher's boyfriend, Carl Thornhill, was involved due to his gun collection, delaying the campus alert. A 9:26 a.m. email about the dorm shooting and a 9:50 a.m. active shooter warning violated Clery Act protocols, leading to a $32,500 federal fine in 20. Virginia Tech settled with families for $11 million, but 2 victims' families won a $4 million wrongful death lawsuit, later overturned by the state Supreme Court in 2013, citing the university's misclassification of the dorm deaths as domestic. Cho's warning signs were clear. Diagnosed with selective mutism and depression in middle school. He rarely spoke, even to roommates. His 2005 creative writing assignments filled with violent school shooting fantasies led Professor Nikki Giovanni to expel him from class. 2 female students reported him for stalking, prompting a 2005 court-ordered psychiatric evaluation deeming him a danger. Yet, a loophole in Virginia's reporting system let Cho pass federal background checks, buying his guns legally in 2007. He practiced at a Roanoke shooting range, renting a Kia van to film his manifesto. The tragedy left scars. Norris Hall closed for a year, and a memorial with 32 limestone blocks honored the victims. Virginia tightened gun laws, requiring all mental health orders to be reported to the NICS database. Cho's actions exposed gaps in campus safety and mental health systems, sparking national debate. What failures led to this happening? Comment system below. If you think more could have been done. A small-town church faces unimaginable loss next. Stay tuned for a story that'll shake you. Sutherland Springs church shooting. On November 5, 2017, a small church in Sutherland Springs, Texas, filled with 50 worshipers became a scene of horror.
Police say 26-year-old Devin Kelly started firing outside.
At 11:20 a.m., Devin Kelly, 26, burst through the doors of First Baptist Church, wearing a skull mask and a tactical vest. Armed with a Ruger AR-556 rifle, he shouted, "Everybody dies!" and unleashed a barrage of bullets during Sunday service. In minutes, 26 people, including an unborn child, lay dead and 22 were wounded. Kelly started outside, gunning down 2 men in the parking lot. Inside, he fired at random, hitting worshipers of all ages. Crystal Holcomb, 36, 8 months pregnant, shielded her toddler but took fatal shots. 3 of her children died beside her. Lula White, 77, Kelly's grandmother-in-law, fell to his bullets, hinting at a personal grudge. Survivors later recalled the chilling sound of gunfire drowning out hymns captured on the church's live stream. Blood stained the pews as people crawled for cover. A local plumber, Stephen Williford, 55, heard the shots from his home nearby. Grabbing his AR-15, he ran barefoot to the church, no time for shoes. He confronted Kelly, landing 2 hits, one to the leg, one through the vest to the torso. Kelly fled in his SUV, pursued by Williford and Johnny Langendorf, a passerby, in a high-speed chase down Highway 539. Kelly, wounded, called his father, saying, "I shot up the Sutherland Springs Church. I don't think I'll make it." He crashed into a field near Guadalupe County and shot himself with a Glock 19. Police found him dead, surrounded by legally bought weapons, including a Ruger César 22. Kelly's past screamed warning signs. In 2012, he escaped a New Mexico psychiatric facility after threatening Air Force superiors and sneaking guns onto Holloman Air Force Base. Court-martialed in 20 for beating his wife and stepson, he was discharged, which should have barred him from buying guns. But the Air Force failed to report his conviction to the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, NICS, letting him purchase the Ruger AR-556 from a San Antonio store in 2016. Earlier, in 2014, he faced misdemeanor animal cruelty charges in Colorado for beating a malnourished husky, though the case was dismissed after restitution. The attack devastated the tiny town of 400. 8 members of the Holcomb family, spanning 3 generations, were among the dead. Survivor Chris Workman, shot in the back, was paralyzed and faced lifelong medical bills. Others battled PTSD, triggered by sounds like helicopters from the evacuation airlift. In 2021, a U.S. judge ruled the Air Force 60% liable for the NICS failure, awarding $230 million to victims. After an appeal, a $144.5 million settlement was reached in 2023, though survivors called it insufficient compared to other cases. The church, a 100-year-old landmark, became a painful reminder. After years of debate, with some calling it sacred ground and others a symbol of trauma, the congregation voted to demolish it. In August 2024, a judge approved and the site was cleared for a prayer garden to honor the victims. The decision split the community, but many hoped it would bring healing. This tragedy exposed glaring gaps in gun laws and mental health reporting. How did a man with such a violent past slip through? We've reached the end of this video. Liked it? Hit like, subscribe to the channel for more, and comment your thoughts. What hit you hardest? Share below and stay safe.